I'm an ability user whose words become reality. If I say God says I can fly, I can soar right up even without wings. If I add God says I can turn invisible, I can vanish in the blink of an eye. But when I traveled to this post-apocalyptic world and took over the body of Suyanki, who'd been trapped for 3 months and had already starved to death, I immediately spoke up. God says, I need a bowl of plain rice. But nothing happened the very next second. That's when I realized this body has no spiritual power. Just as I was thinking how to get out of this mess, sudden banging on the door came from outside. The door was completely blocked by cabinets and tables. I couldn't even check through the peephole. But whoever was outside kept knocking, so I was sure it was a human, not a zombie. I held onto the cabinet and yelled, "Someone's in here!" Though I shouted with all my strength, my voice wasn't very loud. Luckily, the people outside still heard me. Then I heard an excited voice. With the help of Pei Yan and the others, I was finally rescued. I got in the back seat of the off-road vehicle. I looked at Pei Yan in the passenger seat. She was twirling a light blue crystal in her hand. I raised my eyebrows slightly and asked, "What's that in your hand?" Pei Yan froze for a second, then answered briefly, "Crystal core." Seeing I hadn't gone out for 3 months, Pei Yan explained it's something from a zombie's brain. As long as you take out the crystal core, the zombie will die completely. The quiet Jifeng beside couldn't help but cut in. These crystal cores are also useful for us ability users. Oh, right. Are you an ability user? From the original owner's memories, I knew what an ability user meant. So I nodded and said, I am. What's your ability? Jifeng looked a little surprised. I thought for a moment and said, I'm kinda good at everything, I guess. Jifeng glanced at me through the rearview mirror, looking pretty speechless. What do you think my last name is? I ignored him and just looked at Pei Yan. Can you give me this crystal core? I'll give it back to you later. Pei Yan handed the crystal core over and reminded me at the same time, us ability users can absorb energy from crystal cores, but there's some virus mixed in the cores. If you want to absorb it, you need to remove the virus first. Before she could finish her sentence, she saw the crystal core in my hand had turned into a gray stone. Pei Yan was shocked immediately. Are you okay? I'm fine. After absorbing the spiritual energy, I regained some strength right away. I held out my palm. While Pei Yan was confused, I said softly, God says, I have a cream bread. Pei Yan frowned, thinking I had a mental problem. She was just about to tell Jifeng to stop the car. The next second, a cream bread really appeared in my palm. The off-road vehicle braked suddenly. I jolted forward hard. Luckily, my hand blocked my forehead, but the bread got squished in my hand, and the cream oozed right out. I looked at Jifeng unhappily. He laughed and said, Hey, where'd you get this bread, girl? Are you a space-type ability user? I ignored him and kept eating the bread with my head down. Pei Yan was thinking about what just happened. You just absorbed the crystal core's energy. Did you convert it? Apart from the spiritual energy in that core, there was indeed a lot of impurities. But I don't get this conversion stuff. I just absorbed the spiritual energy, that's all. You converted it that fast? How did you do the conversion? Why can you be so fast? Why would you need to convert it? It's not. You just absorb what you need, right? I looked up at Pei Yan. Just then, the car stopped suddenly. Nearby zombies started approaching. Pei Yan didn't keep asking questions. Let's get going first. We'll talk when we get somewhere safe. The off-road vehicle started again. I regained some strength from absorbing the crystal core and learned about the apocalypse situation from Pei Yan. The apocalypse had been going on for 3 months. Social order had completely collapsed. They were heading to City G, where a survivor base had been built. After I got the gist of everything, I asked, where's Brother Pei? I went home first. Didn't see Dad and Auntie. As for Brother Pei, I haven't gone to his school yet. The two fell silent. Jifeng quickly spoke up, Brother Pei. Up ahead is Linda Mall. Should we go there? Let's get closer so I can take a look. 2 off-road vehicles came to a stop. I was told to wait until they cleared the nearby zombies before getting off. Of course I wasn't gonna get off. I don't have much strength right now. I'd just be a dead weight if I go down. There aren't too many zombies on the street. Once they finished clearing them out, I saw them take crystal cores out of the zombies' heads. My eyes lit up immediately. I hurried to get out of the car. Before I could walk over to them, I saw the guy who still wears a white shirt, even in the apocalypse, nod at Pei Yan. There should be no danger around here. As for inside the mall, it's a bit far from here. We have to go in to sense the situation. Pei Yan wiped all the golden boxes with a clean towel. When he saw me coming, he freed one hand to wave at me. Then he introduced Shen Jibai to everyone. You've met him before, remember? Jibai, this is my sister Suyanti. Shen Jibai glanced at me and nodded slightly. He didn't say anything else. He's always been the quiet type by nature. Pei Yan didn't say much either. He called the other two over to introduce them. One is Xu Nianen, also Pei Yan's childhood friend. The other is Su Qingse, Xu Nianen's fiancée. Pei Yan has the strongest power. He's a fire-type ability user. He's outgoing and super talkative. Jifeng is a wind-type ability user. The quiet Shen Jibai is a psychic-type ability user. Xu Nianen, who looks gentle and soft, is a space-type ability user, and Su Qingse, who looks arrogant and won't look anyone in the eye, is a water-type ability user. Except Pei Yan and Shen Jibai are level 2 ability users. Everyone else is still at level 1. After Pei Yan and the others finished digging out the zombie crystal cores, the group headed inside the mall, though it was still 50 to 60 meters away. Through the broken glass windows, we could still see zombies walking stiffly inside. It's worth noting that human abilities can level up, and zombies can evolve too. Once we got inside the mall, there were indeed a lot of zombies gathered there. There were dozens of them as far as the eye could see. But the zombies on these floors weren't a worry for Pei Yan and the others. These zombies move slowly. If we clear them out bit by bit, we can take care of all of them eventually. Their real target is the big supermarket on the first basement floor. If the base hadn't sent people here before, there's no way it would have been emptied out completely. Everyone looked at Shen Jibai at the same time. He closed his eyes slightly, then spread his psychic power across the first floor. Not long after, Shen Jibai's handsome face gradually turned pale, and fine sweat broke out on his forehead. Only then did he open his eyes, his expression looking grave. All I can say is, there are a lot of zombies. Way too many. I can't sense exactly how many there are. But with our current strength, he said, shaking his head, and didn't finish the rest of his sentence. Pei Yan wasn't surprised by this answer. They were already prepared for this before they came. Jifeng pointed to the 4th floor. I remember there's a food street on the 4th floor. Want to go up and check it out? Nah, no need. Most of the stuff at the food street are ingredients that don't last long. Xu Nianen rejected the suggestion. There are still quite a lot of zombies inside. Let's keep quiet. And just look for clothes on the 1st floor. We still need to go to safe remote places to kill zombies. Save up more golden rings, and level up our abilities. Otherwise, next time we find a place with supplies, we'll have to give up again. No one objected to Pei Yan's words, so everyone went very quiet, stayed as far away from zombies as possible, and didn't make a single sound when walking. If they found suitable clothes, they'd ask space-type ability user Xu Nianen to store them in his space. Half an hour later, they finished looking for clothes and snuck back outside. I didn't go in the whole time. Jifeng also waited outside, basically on guard duty. After we got back in the car, I looked at Pei Yan, who had switched to the driver's seat. We're just leaving like this. No choice, our strength isn't enough. If you gave me more golden pots, maybe I could handle it, said Jifeng from the passenger seat. As he turned around with a smile, little sister, you're being so obvious with your scheming. If you want the gold pot, just say so. No need to use this as an excuse. You guys can invest in me. My power is super strong. A space power. Jifeng didn't care at all. He waved his hand. Brother Shen has space power too. I stopped talking. Pei Yan was driving the car. He glanced at me through the rearview mirror. If you want crystal cores, you have to contribute to the team. Surviving in the apocalypse. People with no value can't survive. You know what investment is, right? I crossed my arms. Pei Yan held the steering wheel with one hand. He pulled a few crystal cores from his pants pocket with the other and tossed them back. I caught them perfectly. It's true that people with no value can't survive. But you have backing? I smiled a little. This nominal brother of Pei Yan's is actually really great. They don't share either parent after all. But he came to look for me first. Too bad he's still a step too late. The original owner of this body is long gone. I clenched the crystal cores tightly and absorbed all of them in an instant. Jifeng was watching from the side and blurted out a curse immediately. He looked again and still thought it was insane. He looked at me with a complicated expression. Little girl, you're really awesome. I glanced at him and said nothing. After absorbing those crystal cores, my energy recovered a lot. Following Shenjibai's instructions, the group arrived at a villa area just as it was getting dark. The villa we picked as a temporary stay looked like it had been empty for ages. Lots of stuff inside was messy and disorganized. A thick layer of dust covered the floor, too. The group checked the entire villa, and after confirming there was no danger, Peiyan told everyone to pick their own rooms. You have to clean your own room. Miss Sue, could you prepare some water, please? I didn't feel like going up to the second floor, so I found a first-floor room with a bathroom. Then I activated my power. God says this is a clean and tidy room. The next second, the room looked brand new, like it had just been thoroughly cleaned. Peiyan walked over holding bed sheets and saw my room. He froze for a second. Your room is so clean. Didn't I tell you? I know a little bit of everything, including a room cleaning power. I really am too inexperienced. All right then, little sister. I'll leave my room to you then, since you gave me that gold box this afternoon. Sure. The room Peiyan picked was a small one on the first floor. I glanced at it and cast my spell. God says this is a clean room. The next moment, everything in the room became extremely tidy. Even the tissue that fell on the floor was spotless. Peiyan looked at me with pleasant surprise. Su Yangshi, this power of yours is so great. She pulled a few more crystal cores from her pocket and handed them to me. These crystal cores are all for you. I'll go kill more zombies after dinner later. When I saw the crystal cores, my eyes lit up immediately. I copied the girls I saw in short videos that the original owner watched and deliberately spoke in a cutesy voice. Thank you, brother. Speak properly. Just as we were talking, there was a sudden knock on the door. Everyone walked to the living room, and all looked at Shenjibai. He gently closed his eyes. He opened his eyes a moment later, his thin lips parting, and spoke slowly. 2 men and 2 women, no danger detected. After hearing Shenjibai's words, Jifeng looked at Peiyan to ask for his opinion. Brother Pei, let's open the door then. Open it. Jifeng walked over and opened the door. Outside the door, just as Shenjibai said, stood 2 men and 2 women. They looked quite young. There was still a naive cluelessness in their eyes. When they saw Jifeng open the door, their faces immediately lit up with surprise. We saw 2 off-road vehicles outside the door, so we guessed someone must be inside. We didn't expect we were right. Jifeng closed the door again and walked back to stand next to Peiyan. He looked them up and down. Who are you people? What do you want coming in here? Hi there, we're students from the nearby University of Science and Technology. After the apocalypse started, we've been struggling to survive in the school, waiting for rescue. We only managed to escape the school a while ago. We ran into some people with flight powers along the way, and got the hang of what's going on in the apocalypse now. Yeah, exactly, all the way here, other than a few flight power users. We haven't run into any other human beings at all. If it weren't for these power users, we would have thought we were the only people left in the whole world. Peiyan raised an eyebrow slightly. You guys are from the tech university, right? Do you know Brother Pei? Of course I know Brother Pei. He's a total celebrity on our campus. But he probably doesn't know who I am. We chatted for a little longer. After we exchanged names, everyone gradually got more comfortable with each other. When they found out we were heading to Boulder Base, Zhuo Qingfeng and his group asked to come along with us. I have both wood and speed powers. Lidiao has space powers. Shirei has strength powers. We have our own supplies. We won't use any of yours. We just hope we can reach the G-Clan together and look out for each other whenever we can. Seeing Peiyan frown slightly, like she didn't want to take them with us, Zhuo Qingfeng immediately brought up what they could offer. Since all 4 of Zhuo Qingfeng's group have powers and won't consume any of our supplies, Peiyan agreed to let them come to G-Clan base with us. After everyone got acquainted, Shen Yansheng took rice and eggs out of his space. Let's have egg fried rice tonight. He looked at me as he said that. I heard you're a food blogger. You cook it. I don't know how to cook. Shen Niansheng looked at me skeptically. I added quickly, I'm only in charge of eating and reviewing. Xu Nianan felt a little helpless and was about to start cooking himself. Just then, Xia Tianqian, who was eating self-heating rice, walked over. I know how to cook. Let me help you. Xu Nianan looked a little embarrassed. I'm pretty good at cooking. Take it as my thanks for taking us along. Xu Nianan couldn't refuse anymore. All right, thanks for the trouble. Xia Tianqian took the rice from Xu Nianan's hand. She washed the rice quickly and neatly and put it on the simple stove to steam. Let's wait till the rice is cooked to fry it. No thanks, that's fine. Xia Tianqian's eyes were bright as she stared straight at Xu Nianan. May I ask what your name is? Xu Nianan, I'm Xu Nianan. Xia Tianqian was about to keep talking when Su Qinsei next to her called out, Nianan, come over here for a sec. I need to talk to you. She then looked at Xia Tianqian apologetically. Sorry, Miss Xia. My Nianan doesn't know how to cook. Sorry for giving you trouble. When Xu Nianan heard that, he frowned slightly. Xia Tianqian shook her head, blinked and asked, Are you and brother Nianan dating, Sister C? Yeah, we're engaged. Oh, you two look really great together. After saying that, Xia Tianqian walked to the dining table and sat down and continued eating. Her eyes were slightly downcast, so no one could tell what she was thinking. Xia Tianqian is really a good cook. That plate of egg-fried rice made everyone in Pei Yan's group wear a satisfied look on their faces. After dinner, everyone took out the map and planned a few routes to G-Clan base. The exact route still depends on the actual situation. They have to leave here as soon as possible. City H isn't hit as hard by the disaster as other cities, but it still has flood problems. It's just not that serious right now. But no one can tell for sure when natural disasters will hit, so it's safer to leave earlier. After arranging the night watch shifts, I got clean clothes from Xu Nianan and went into the bathroom to take a shower. I was half asleep in the middle of the night when I heard someone yelling. I opened my eyes. Lack of sleep made me really grumpy. I opened the door with my messy bedhead. There was only one candle lit in the living room. A few people had already been woken up. What's going on? Right after I asked, I heard a weird noise. What is that sound? Shen Jibai hurried down from the second floor, speaking in a rushed tone. It's dangerous. I can sense a ton of zombies. And these zombies seem to be running away. Right after he finished speaking, there was a loud thunder bang in the sky. Lightning looked like it was tearing the sky apart. Huge raindrops started falling instantly. All the zombies are running away. Jifeng asked anxiously. Brother Pei, what should we do now? We're leaving too. Pack up your things and leave with the others right now. Heavy rain poured down. In just a split second, large pools of water formed on the ground. Shen Jibai sat in the back seat, watching this scene through the car window, and frowned slightly. This must be a natural disaster. Look, tons of rats are running out. Luckily, there's no earthquake or other hazards. The road is still fairly clear. We drove all the way and saw many other cars also fleeing. But all this commotion didn't attract any zombies. It seems like compared to food, survival is more important. Jifeng looked out the window, suddenly pointed at the distance and said, Look, that's a flying ability user. Su Gingser rarely showed an envious look. It's so cool to be able to fly. I took a glance and yawned. What's so hard about that? Like you're a flying ability user or something? What else is hard for you then? I'm not a flying ability user, but I can fly. Su Hengser rolled her eyes. You don't even think before you brag. With Shen Jibai's mental ability boosting us, the two off-road vehicles raced all the way to City G. The rain got heavier and heavier. Soon the floodwater kept rising. The car could barely move forward. Jifeng pressed down on the gas pedal and found it harder and harder to drive. We can't keep going. Not only is the rain too heavy, the floodwater on the ground is also too deep. If we keep driving, I'm afraid the car will stall. The headlights cut through the water curtain, but we couldn't see anything ahead. It was completely pitch black. Pei Yan rolled down the car window a little and immediately heard the loud sound of rain, along with howling strong winds. Rain poured madly through the gap in the window. Jibai, is there any place nearby we can take shelter? The City G base. We can't go there for now. He had been using his mental ability nonstop to help us travel, so Shen Jibai's ability was almost exhausted. His face was a bit pale. Hearing Pei Yan's question, he used his ability again. He sensed for a moment, then said with a pale face, There's a place southeast we can stay temporarily. Jifeng didn't hesitate. He immediately turned on the high beams and drove towards the southeast. After driving for about 10 minutes, we finally saw the place Shen Jibai mentioned. By then, the water had risen to calf height. The car stalled on its own. Jifeng told everyone to get flashlights and get ready to get off. I glanced at the murky floodwater with a blank face and said weirdly, I can fly. I won't get wet from the rain. Su Gingser, who was about to get off, saw this and was instantly speechless. Hey, Su Yangxi, are you crazy? What kind of situation is this? Stop talking nonsense. Just as she was about to mock more, Su Gingser's eyes widened the next second. She saw my feet slowly lift off the ground, and I floated out of the car. The flashlight beam cut through the rain curtain, making this scene look extra eerie. What's more, the pouring rain really didn't get on me at all. I, who had floated out of the car, looked down from above at Jifeng, who was frozen in place with his mouth wide open. What are you staring at? Lead the way. Yes. Jifeng answered immediately and respectfully. After he answered, he was also stunned. Wait, why was he being so submissive? He had unconsciously tried to please her. Wait, that's not the point. The point is, why did she ask him to lead the way? Jifeng was annoyed for a second, but he moved very fast. He stretched out his hand and said flatteringly, this way. Wait, no, fly this way. After saying that, Jifeng regretted it again. He always felt that whenever he met the eyes of Brother Pei's little sister, he couldn't help being scared. The others looked at Jifeng and me in the air and were completely shocked. They had never heard of a flying ability user who could fly without wings. And why didn't the rain get her wet? Is the rain playing favorites or something? The building Shen Jibai mentioned was a private 3-story house. The first floor seemed to be a small supermarket. Shelves were knocked over everywhere. Almost all food and drinks were taken. Only some daily necessities were left. Everyone pulled down the rolling shutter door, then went up to the second floor together. I just landed on the ground. I saw a few crystal cores held out in front of me. I looked at Pei Yan confusedly. What do you mean? I stared at Pei Yan in confusion. What's that about? Clean this place up a bit. Brother Pei, what do you want cleaned? I ignored them. After I finished absorbing the crystal cores, I was in a pretty good mood. God says this place is clean and tidy. By the light of the flashlight, everyone saw clearly. All the furniture here was spotlessly clean. Even the floor looked like it had just been mopped. The white tiles were shining bright. Su Yangxi, what kind of power do you even have? Didn't I tell you before? I can do everything. Just a little bit of each, you know? Yeah, sure, a little bit. Su Jinsei bit her lip. But what kind of power is that even? You can fly, you can clean stuff. I heard from Jifeng. You have spatial power too. That's 3, 4, even 5 types of powers. Everyone else was curious about this too. So they all stared at me. I had a calm expression on my face, sat down on the sofa, took my sweet time. Well, I guess I have thousands of powers then. I'd regained a lot of my spiritual power. I was totally unstoppable now. From now on, I don't have to kiss anyone's ass anymore. No one else noticed my attitude had changed. After all, in their eyes, I've always been this cocky. When have they ever seen me suck up to anyone? There aren't many rooms on the second floor. Only 3 rooms total. Good thing there's 2 more on the 3rd floor. One of them's a huge master bedroom. There aren't enough rooms for everyone. So obviously some people have to share. But now that I'm top dog, why would I agree to that? I cleaned this whole place. It's fine if I take the master bedroom for myself, right? Everyone turned to look at Pei Yan. Yeah, sure, I cleaned the place. But he was the one who gave the crystal cores. Before Pei Yan could say anything, Gu Tiancheng, who barely ever talked, spoke up first and agreed right away. I think that's fine. Shen Yansheng glanced at his friend. He knew exactly why Gu Tiancheng agreed. Maybe for other people, a cleaning power is kind of useless. But for Gu Tiancheng, a total neat freak, that's the best power ever. Who would have thought the normally arrogant Gu Tiancheng actually knows how to suck up now? Jifeng saw I had no problem with it. Pei Yan saw no one objected. He turned and opened a room door. Su Jinsei, this decision is final. Su Jinsei was furious. There's 10 of us total. 4 of them are girls. She gets a whole room to herself. Doesn't that mean the 3 of us girls have to cram into one room? I don't agree. What about you guys? Xiao Weiliang and Zhao Xinxin didn't answer. They only tagged along with Pei Yan's group in the first place. Gu Tiancheng was the one who found this place with his power. I cleaned all the rooms, and Pei Yan provided the crystal cores. They had no right to vote at all. I crossed my arms over my chest and said calmly, "You don't agree? Then we'll vote on it. Majority vote wins. They'll definitely all vote for you anyway. There's 6 of them. Except for Xu Nianan, who hasn't said anything. Everyone else already agreed earlier." "Then shut the hell up." Su Jinsi wanted to argue more. But when she met my cold, dark gaze, she panicked instantly. It felt like she'd fallen into an ice cellar, shivering from the cold. How is this possible? How can someone's gaze be this terrifying? The confidence she'd built up earlier, and all the lines she'd prepared, all vanished when she opened her mouth. "Fine, we'll cram. I never said we couldn't." Her voice was pretty loud, but her words were totally cowardly. I was pretty satisfied with how she backed off, so I withdrew my intimidating aura. Then I ordered her to run me a bath in my room. "I need to take a shower." Everyone else stared at me in shock, then turned to look at Su Jinsei. Even people like Xiao Weiliang, who'd only known her for a day, knew that Su Jinsei always acted like a spoiled rich princess and ordered everyone around all the time. It was already crazy that she backed off just now. No one expected me to push my luck even further. If those two fight later, should they pull Su Jinsei away first? Or pull Su Jinsei away first? As for me, well, they don't dare to pull her, who everyone thinks will put up a fierce fight. Su Jinsei still had plenty of momentum. Her voice was still loud. "Let go if you say so." Her words sounded tough as usual, but she was actually cowardly. Su Jinsei stormed up to the 3rd floor. Her steps were a little hurried. She looked almost like she was running away. Shen Yanshen looked at me. There was a faint hint of admiration for Su Jinsei in his eyes. With that spoiled young lady temper of hers, even he can't handle her sometimes. He didn't expect that I could actually tame her. After taking a shower, I went to the 2nd floor. Everyone else was already done getting ready. They were about to make something to eat. Xiao Weiliang and the other 3 were still staying separate from the rest. The temperature dropped because of the heavy rain, so we decided to have self-heating hot pot for dinner. I sat on an armchair, smelling the self-heating hot pot in my hand. My eyes lit up. The first bite definitely didn't disappoint me. Spicy, numbing, fragrant, and savory. The smell was amazing. Even though most of it was just vegetables, it still tasted great. Everyone else was also eating happily. After all, self-heating hot pot is a luxury item normally. No one would want to waste money on it. Just being able to get full every day is already good enough. I was so excited eating it. I wanted to get another bowl right away, but when I thought about the spiritual power in my body, I held myself back. I'll go kill some zombies first. Then I can eat hot pot every day. After we finished eating, Pei Yan looked at the leftover hot pot broth in my bowl. She frowned slightly. This is all precious oil and fat. She was clearly hinting that I should finish it. Hot pot broth that people would ignore before the apocalypse is a rare delicacy after the apocalypse hit. Even people like Pei Yan and Su Jinsei, who came from rich families, eat every last drop. Wasting this is really too much. I looked at the broth. I really didn't want to drink it. I said in disgust, "I don't want it." Pei Yan didn't agree with that, and was just about to persuade me again when I heard a voice from beside me. "If he doesn't want it, can I finish it for him?" Everyone immediately looked at Su Jinsei in shock. Su Jinsei looked a little embarrassed. "I just think it's such a waste. It's the apocalypse right now. Of course we need to cherish everything we have. If you want it, go ahead." Su Jinsei's face lit up with joy. She took my bowl of leftover broth and immediately tilted her head back to drink it. "Who knew you're this kind of pampered rich lady?" I thought as I moved away from her in disgust. No wonder you can't beat the lady of the house. You can't even resist leftover hot pot broth? You're so useless. Su Jinsei didn't care what other people thought at all. After the apocalypse started, she almost never got to eat her fill. There was barely any fat in her stomach at all. She was so hungry she couldn't sleep every night, especially after she used her powers. Her energy got used up even faster. What's wrong with leftover hot pot broth? If zombies weren't inedible, when you're starving enough, I'd still rather starve than eat zombies anyway. After finishing dinner, everyone felt energized. They started discussing what to do next. Everyone immediately looked at Gu Tiancheng. After all, he had a psychic power. Even the things he said just based on intuition were usually pretty reliable. Gu Tiancheng didn't use his power again. His power was already completely used up today. He was weak all over right now, and his head was spinning. He needed a whole night to recover. Pei-Yan thought for a moment, then said we should head towards East City first. There shouldn't be any floods there. Also, going to East City won't affect our trip to the sacrifice base. East City works, Jifeng was the first to agree. But how to get there is the problem. Our cars definitely can't drive anymore. If we wait for the water level to drop, who knows how long we'll have to wait. Our supplies won't last that long anyway. Pei-Yan frowned slightly. Then we'll focus on searching for kayaks these days. We have to leave City H as soon as possible. Flood disasters usually come with all kinds of bacteria and viruses. Xiao Weiliang listened to their discussion and couldn't help but cut in quietly. Before he could finish speaking, I, who was speaking at the same time but much louder, immediately drowned out his voice. Why bother with kayaks? If you guys give me more crystal cores, I can get us boats. Gu Tiancheng looked at me in shock. Your power can even make lifeboats out of thin air. I crossed my arms and leaned against the sofa. My gaze was calm. None of your business? You want to chip in crystals for a lifeboat? Yeah. Of course we do. They can't get stuck here. If we run out of crystals, we can kill more zombies to get more. But if we die, that's it for good. The other 9 people discussed it. There were 10 of them in total. A regular-sized lifeboat can fit 5 people easily. But to have more space, everyone agreed there's no need to rush. In the end, everyone was willing to chip in crystals. We counted the total, and Pei-Yan decided each person gives 5 crystals in exchange for 3 lifeboats. I agreed right away. After quickly absorbing all 45 crystals, I stayed sitting on the couch. I only moved my lips a little. God says 3 lifeboats appear before me. Everyone watched as a wave of energy swept through the living room, and 3 lifeboats really did appear out of nowhere. Xiao Weiliang looked at me in shock. If they weren't stored in a space ability, what kind of power is this? Words that manifest into reality? Weiliang looked at the person who spoke. It was Jifeng, who excitedly squatted down next to me. Wait, no, sister. Sister Ling. Your power is literally whatever you say goes. That's the perfect way to describe it. Whatever you say appears right away. So, can you make my favorite foods appear too? I want braised pork and white rice. Is that enough? Everyone rolled their eyes at Jifeng's bootlicking. They could barely stand to look at him. But they were also a little jealous deep down. White rice and braised pork. Who wouldn't want that? I raised an eyebrow slightly. I didn't expect. These people had so many crystals on them. Too bad we're too close. I can't just rob them. I took the crystals. I relaxed my brow and said, sure. I don't hoard crystals. I absorbed them right away. Compare that to Gu Tiancheng, who just started absorbing 1 crystal and still hasn't finished. My speed was ridiculously fast. God says a bowl of hot white rice appears before me. And a plate of braised pork? The next second, white rice really appeared on the coffee table in front of me, along with the braised pork. It was still steaming hot, and the smell of the braised pork filled the air. The sound of everyone swallowing hard was super obvious. Jifeng, who already couldn't wait to dive for the rice, felt everyone's hungry wolf-like stares on him. He quietly poured the rice onto the plate, then hid in a corner to scarf it down quickly. The fat and sugar in the pork blended perfectly, creating a perfect balance of sweet and salty flavors. Jifeng's eyes crinkled up in happiness as he ate. This is what living feels like. Starting today, either the zombies go or I go. If the zombies are gone, I get to live. It's either the zombies die or I die. The others smelled the pork, and their full stomachs immediately felt empty again. But when they thought about how few crystals they had left, they gave up on the idea. Compared to filling their stomachs, leveling up their abilities to survive and get stronger in the apocalypse is way more important. Once they're strong enough, why would they worry about not having supplies? After thinking it through, everyone looked at Jifeng and pushed their greedy thoughts aside. Pei-Yan looked at me with a complicated expression. I felt her staring, and immediately made my position clear. Even if you're my so-called older brother, you don't get free stuff. If you want food, you pay with crystals. Pei-Yan looked helpless. She wasn't even that hungry for it. Is your power really whatever you say goes? Whatever you say becomes real. You can put it that way. I looked at my scrawny arms and legs and decided I need to fatten myself up soon. The original owner of this body is 163 centimeters tall, but only weighs 40 kg. She's literally skin and bones. I took one look at her face and didn't want to look again. Su Jinsei, who was squatting next to me finishing hot pot broth, got excited immediately when she heard that. Whatever you say goes. Does that mean if you say the apocalypse ends, the apocalypse will actually end? Theoretically, yes. Xu Nianan pressed on. But you need enough energy, right? I pointed at Jifeng eating in the corner, just like his meal. If he wanted a full Manchu Han feast, obviously the amount of crystal cores he has is far from enough. Su Jinsei hung her head in frustration. So that's basically impossible. The energy required to end the apocalypse would need collecting all zombie crystal cores in the world. That's actually not necessary. Peiyan's dark eyes lit up a little as he stared at me. While ending the apocalypse is pretty unlikely, we should have enough energy to make a vaccine. That opened up a new line of thinking for everyone, Zhao Xingxin said excitedly. Exactly. Once we develop a vaccine for the zombie virus, at least the surviving people don't have to fear being infected anymore. The number of zombies won't increase anymore. Humanity still has a fighting chance. Immediately, everyone looked at me with sparkling eyes. Peiyan summed up the proposal. We won't let her do any dangerous things from now on. Our top priority is protecting her. Do you all agree? As soon as he said this, the people who just saw me as their savior immediately avoided Peiyan's gaze. Prioritizing protecting me is fine, as long as it doesn't put themselves in danger. Every man for himself, and the devil take the hindmost. They aren't those self-sacrificing soldiers who would give up their lives for the greater good. I let out a cold snort. Just take good care of yourselves. I don't need your protection, and I won't protect you either. So the priority protecting me thing just fizzled out. I didn't even care about it. Human nature is inherently selfish. Even though I've hung out with Peiyan's crew for a few days, we seem to get along pretty well. But when something bad really happens, other than Peiyan, I really might not save any of them. Just like what they thought, whether to save someone needs to be weighed. At night, aside from the zombies' eerie howls, I rested pretty well. After a whole night of heavy rain, the rain didn't let up the next day. After everyone finished breakfast, they looked out of the second-floor window. The water level had risen a lot. Outside, apart from zombies wandering in the rain, there was no other person in sight. Zhuo Qingfeng looked at this scene and couldn't help asking a question. Do you think zombies can be drowned? No. Before anyone else could answer, Xiao Weiliang's firm voice came over. Everyone immediately turned their eyes to her. Zhuo Qingfeng quickly asked Qian Qian, how do you know they can't? This is the result I got from my observations. Xiao Weiliang paused for a second and answered, don't you guys remember, even if you cut off a zombie's head, its head can still stay alive. Even without a body, a severed zombie head is barely dangerous. But that doesn't change the fact that it's still alive. Xu Nianan looked at Xiao Weiliang with a hint of admiration. So what you mean is, as long as you don't damage the zombie's head or crystal core, strictly speaking, it's still alive. Because in a sense, zombies don't age and don't die. They can even keep leveling up. The usually quiet Yang Ziheng laughed loudly. Isn't this immortality? If the first emperor knew immortality was like this, he wouldn't be obsessed with it anymore. If the zombie virus didn't mutate our bodies, and we still had our sanity. Jifeng came up with a wild idea. We'd probably be out conquering the galaxy. That sounds so cool just thinking about it. Fighting aliens. Sounds way better than fighting zombies. Aliens aren't even our species anyway. Gu Tiancheng had fully recovered today. Right now, he was sitting on the living room sofa. He usually only wears a plain white shirt. Today, because the temperature dropped, he wore a thin black trench coat. He was sitting with his legs crossed, sipping hot water from his cup. After glancing at the rain outside, he said, this rain will probably last a whole week. We can't stay here that long. Ayan, what do you think? They did the calculation yesterday. Their supplies can only last exactly 1 week. But that's not a hard and fast rule. There's no way we can just wait around. We definitely can't go out today. The rain is way too heavy. When will the rain let up a little? Wu Tiancheng had to use his ability to sense the safety of traveling in the following days. He finally confirmed that the day after tomorrow, we can leave. But there will probably be some trouble along the way. He can't sense anything beyond that. After all, his ability is only level 2. I heard level 3 is a watershed for abilities. Compared to level 1 and 2, abilities will have a qualitative change. Looks like we need to reach level 3 as soon as possible. Made the final decision. We'll leave the day after tomorrow. Any objections? Of course, no one had a problem with that. It was pouring hard outside. It wasn't a good time to go look for supplies anyway. Pei Yan decided to take Zhou Jifeng and Xu Nianen with him. To check out the first floor, it was too late last night. The first floor is a small convenience store. There are still some goods hanging on the walls. They needed to check if there was anything useful there. Water was already seeping in through the crack under the door. Some of the shelves that had fallen on the floor were floating in the floodwater. The rain was still pattering loudly outside, hitting the rolling gate, making the noise even louder. On top of that, there were the gurgling growls of zombies when they shined the flashlight down the stairs and a cold wind blew over. The pitch-dark scene looked really creepy. The water level on the first floor was way too high, so Pei Yan and the others just took a lifeboat to get there. Supplies-wise, almost everything hanging on the walls was useless. School bags, straw hats, kettles, and stuff. All of them were daily necessities. Jifeng said excitedly, "Brother Pei, I found raincoats and kettles here. Straw hats and raincoats. Let's take all of them. It's pretty far to East City. If we get caught in the rain and catch a cold, our medicine stock isn't enough to handle that." Juniana nodded and waved his hand, and stored all these items in his space. "My space is almost full. I need to upgrade it as soon as possible. A level 1 space ability user has way too small a storage space. It's only 5 cubic meters. It can't actually hold that much stuff. I've already piled up a lot of daily items like clothes, pots, and bowls. We'll talk about it the day after tomorrow." Our group had been holed up in this 3-story residential building this whole time, and we hadn't run into any danger so far. We got up early the day after tomorrow and looked out the window. Sure enough, the rain had eased up a lot. It had turned into a light drizzle. Pei Yan took the 4 raincoats they had collected and gave them to me and the others. I thought they were pretty gross, but I figured I should save my spiritual power. I still needed a lot of it after all, so I accepted it anyway. The crumpled, ugly raincoat, the rolling gate that had been closed for days, finally opened. 3 lifeboats floated out slowly. There were a few scattered zombies floating on the water outside. They looked exactly like people lying flat and slacking off. As soon as they came out, the scent of fresh human flesh immediately made their grayish eyes look like they'd come back to life, their bodies soaked and bloated by the water. These rotting corpses stood up. The maggots on them had long been washed off and were floating on the water. Grayish white, their eyeless sockets seemed like they could actually see people. They bared their claws and ran towards them. But because of the water resistance, plus it was daytime now, they weren't moving very fast. They were actually moving really slow. My eyes lit up. I was just about to speak when I heard Pei Yan say, "Kill all these zombies." Even a mosquito is still meat no matter how small. Plus, lone zombies are way more cost-effective to kill. Before Pei Yan even finished speaking, Jifeng, Zhuo Qingfeng, and the others all attacked at the same time. They had agreed earlier that zombie crystal cores belonged to whoever kills the zombie. Now that there were lone, easy-to-kill zombies, of course they weren't going to let this chance go. The 6 zombies hadn't even gotten close before they all got their heads blown off by abilities one after another. Jifeng held 2 crystal cores in his hand and thought to himself he had to kill more zombies later. That way he could afford rice and braised pork later. Man, I've never been this excited before. To see zombies? I'm kind of pumped just thinking about it. The lifeboats floated all the way towards East City. Along the way, they ran into a lot of zombies just like the ones at the building entrance. The sudden heavy rain restricted human movement, sure, but it restricted the zombies too. Humans have lifeboats, after all. Zombies don't. We definitely have the upper hand here. I was going to say something anyway, but I realized if I tried to fight for them verbally, I'd be slower than them who just jump straight into action. So I said I have a sword that can slay zombies. Everyone looked at me. I immediately steered the lifeboat and stabbed my sword straight at every zombie's head the second I saw them. Then I twisted my wrist, and the crystal core was picked out by that beautiful longsword. The easy, smooth move made people have the wrong idea that these zombies were as weak as watermelons. The water had softened up their corpses after all. Jifeng, who wanted to save his abilities, took out the kitchen knife he had earlier from Shunianen's space and swung it down hard. He realized he was wrong right away. This zombie's skull was just as hard as ever. The zombies he cut are nothing compared to the ones I take down. Instead, he had trouble moving around on the lifeboat. He looked pretty flustered. We thought traveling by lifeboat would be super dangerous, but the exact opposite happened. Not only were the zombies way less powerful, the hordes of zombies were also scattered by the flood. They're spread out, one here and one there. It's hard for them to group back together again. Ha ha ha, that works out great for our group. Everyone was collecting crystal cores like they're free candy. Just swing the blade and take down a zombie in one go. Except for me, of course. No one else overused their powers. They'd kill a few, rest a bit, then go back to killing. They took turns doing this, just in case they run into trouble, and everyone gets too exhausted to fight. Jifeng killed about a dozen zombies. He was sitting down to rest when he saw me lift off the ground and take out a zombie that was a bit far from their group. After putting the crystal core in my pocket, I flew right back over. My moves were super smooth and efficient. He wanted to ask me, "Don't you ever get tired?" But then he remembered, I can absorb a whole crystal core in literally 1 second. Is this what it's like to be a total badass? Damn, I'd eat braised pork every day if I were that cool. Everyone else needs to rest. Only I don't. So the whole way here, everywhere we go, there are zombies. I'm collecting crystal cores like they're free. Everyone was super jealous watching me. Turn left up ahead. Gu Tiancheng sensed around for a bit, then said there are a lot of zombies up ahead. I got super excited when I heard that and asked. Before Gu Tiancheng could answer, I extended my psychic powers. A happy look immediately appeared in my eyes. There are a ton, yeah. Gu Tiancheng immediately asked sharply. You can sense that. Didn't I tell you? I can do a little bit of everything. Gu Tiancheng thought. Psychic powers are different from other types of powers. But he couldn't put his finger on how. I didn't wait for them to respond. I immediately said what I wanted to do. I want to go over there. No way, Gu Tiancheng frowned and objected. That's the road to the hospital. If you're wondering where the most people were before the apocalypse, it's definitely the hospital. Hospitals were always crowded even before. Right before the apocalypse, there was a flu outbreak. Even more people went to the hospital. The healthcare system in many areas even collapsed for a while. So ever since the apocalypse started, all the people trapped in the hospital, almost everyone who was in the hospital when the virus hit, barely any of them escaped. They all turned into zombies. So what? I know your powers are super strong, and you absorb crystal cores really fast, but even so, we can't take unnecessary risks. Gu Tiancheng had no idea how many zombies were at the hospital. Just thinking about it made his scalp tingle. Not to mention the streets around the hospital have tons of zombies too. It's very likely that before you even get to the hospital, you'll get killed by other zombies. Pei Yan spoke up from the side and asked, And what? And I have a hunch. The danger at the hospital isn't just from the large number of zombies. There's probably something even more dangerous there. I just don't know what it is exactly. Gu Tiancheng's usually calm face looked really serious right now. His gut told him, that place is super dangerous. At least with their current power level, going there is a death sentence. I didn't answer right away. I just lifted off the ground lightly. If you guys aren't going, then I'll go alone. It's rare to find such a good chance to get stronger. There's no way I'm passing this up. Without power, you can't go anywhere at all. That weak, helpless feeling I had when I first got here a few days ago, I never want to feel that again. Gu Yangshi, stop being so reckless. Pei Yan frowned slightly. I know you're skilled and bold, but Tiancheng is right. They'll outnumber you by a lot. We should play it safe. There's not a lot of things in the apocalypse. Except for zombies, there's tons of those. It's not like we'll run out of them to kill. I was floating in the air and looked down at them from above. Thanks for taking care of me these days. But the decision I've made, no one can change it. Dozens of crystal cores materialized and fell right at Pei Yan's feet. This is my thank you gift. The girl looked so frail and thin, but right now, everyone could feel my strong confidence, and that casual glance I gave was like a deity looking at mortals. It wasn't contempt. It wasn't mockery either. It's just like how people see flowers and trees. They feel nothing at all. They just glance right past them. Su Yangshi and Pei Yan still wanted to talk me out of it. But I turned my back on them and waved a hand behind me. I said in a casual tone, We'll meet again. My figure flew further and further away. Jifeng got a little anxious. Wait, Brother Pei, Sister Ling just left like that. Aren't we going after her? I only got to eat that rice and braised pork once. Of course Pei Yan wanted to chase after her. But they are a team, so she looked at the rest of the group. What do you all think? Zhuo Qingfeng glanced at Xiao Weiliang. After getting what he meant, he sat down in the lifeboat and said, "We're not going..." She has a flight ability. I definitely don't. Not to mention Gu Tiancheng already said, besides zombies, there are other dangers out there. Of course, Zhuo Qingfeng held some thoughts back. If they actually went, that girl might not even appreciate it. Those dark eyes of hers were way too cold and indifferent. He kept feeling like he was being disrespected. Like, in my eyes, he's no different from an ox or a horse, or useless weeds. If they ran into danger, I might not even bother saving them. Su Jinsei quickly asked Brother He, "What about us?" Even though I've always outmatched him, for some reason, Su Jinsei doesn't hate me. Actually, he looks up to the strong deep down. Before the apocalypse, Xun Yanan was excellent in every way. He stood out among all the rich second generations. After the apocalypse, he awakened a rare space ability. He already had a good impression of Xun Yanan, and that impression only got better after the apocalypse hit. He always thought he liked Xun Yanan quite a lot, but now he realizes he likes me more now, because in his mind, I'm stronger than Xun Yanan. Pei Yan didn't make a decision right away. Instead, she asked everyone else, "What do you think?" Even though she really wanted to go, she couldn't make that call on her own. Her friends chose her as the team leader, so of course she had to consider everyone's safety. Otherwise, she'd never forgive herself if something went wrong. Xiao Weiliang looked nervously at Pei Yan and her group. He definitely didn't want these people to leave. If they left, the powerful, decent partners they just found would be gone. What's more, Xun Yanan was still here. I think Jifeng sat on the lifeboat and secretly glanced up at everyone else. Of course he wanted to go. That was braised pork and rice we're talking about. Who could say no to that? But his rational side told him this was a matter of life and death for everyone. He couldn't make a reckless decision like that. That left Jifeng stuck in a dilemma. He couldn't pick either option. Whatever you all decide, I'm okay with it. Indecisive Jifeng decided not to choose at all, and threw the problem to everyone else. Seeing Jifeng so torn, Xun Yanan said directly, "I don't agree." "Gu Tiancheng, what about you?" Gu Tiancheng frowned slightly. Deep down in his heart, there was one weird thing he never told anyone about. His mental ability didn't seem to work on me. He was already a level 2 ability user now. Besides sensing safety and threats within a certain range, he could also sense whether humans and ability users liked or hated him. For example, when Xiao Weiliang and his group came over earlier, he could tell these people weren't much of a threat to him, and they didn't come with bad intentions. But he couldn't sense anything from me at all. I was like a pool of stagnant water, or like thin air, like I didn't even exist. Right now, for example, he could only sense that if they went to the hospital, the odds of survival would be slim to none. But I was clearly a variable in this scenario, but it was like I didn't exist at all. He couldn't factor me in at all. I don't agree either. Since we can't predict the outcome, that means it's out of our control. No one knows how this whole thing will end up. Pei Yan looked at Su Jinsei again. Su Jinsei bit her lip, then drooped her head a little, and gave up making a choice. Her choice to give up surprised everyone else a bit. They thought she'd firmly refused to go look for me. After all, they all thought Su Jinsei hated me a lot. Turns out they were wrong. 2 people voted against it. 2 people gave up voting. The only one left is Pei Yan. No matter what she picks, it won't change the final result. The man lowered his eyes slightly, his voice deep. Let's turn left then. The lifeboat turned left, going the opposite direction of the road to the hospital. The air went quiet for a moment. Jifeng, totally oblivious, asked Brother Pei, "Are you okay?" Other people can give up and feel fine because I don't care about them. But Brother Pei is my bro. Even if we're not blood related, we've lived together for years. You'd get attached to a dog after that long, let alone a real living person. No one said anything after that. When they spotted zombies, they just killed them silently. The pretty good mood the zombies were in earlier is gone now too. I had no idea about all this on my end. That my leaving made Pei Yan and the others feel down. I was in a really good mood right then. This is the main road leading to the hospital. There are lots of cars here. The heavy rain made the water level rise. All these cars are now flooded in water. A lot of them still have zombies trapped inside. Level 1 zombies have zero intelligence. They can't even open a door when they're locked inside. When they sense a human nearby, they just keep slamming into the door with brute force, trying to break it down. I was floating above easily. I didn't miss a single car. If I saw a zombie inside, I'd open the door for it first, then quickly pull out the zombie's crystal core. I'd absorb the core right away once I got it. So the more zombies I killed, the stronger I got. I didn't feel tired at all. Just like a perpetual motion machine. This is so great. I already cleared more than half the road. After I finished absorbing all the cores, I was totally filled with power. I was in a fantastic mood. These guys are just too weak. Not a single one can put up a fight. I was just a few meters away from the hospital's main entrance. I could see the hospital beyond the barrier from far away. In front of the parking lot, there were tons of zombies packed together. My eyes lit up. Wow, there really are loads of zombies. I started moving faster without even realizing it. Just then, I felt a light flashing around me. I frowned slightly and looked up toward the light source. In a residential building right across from the hospital, by a window on around the 12th or 13th floor, 3 heads were poking out. One of them was holding a big whiteboard with SOS written on it. Another was shining a flashlight at me nonstop, trying to get my attention. The third one was waving at me like crazy. Save them or not? That wasn't even a question. I glanced up at the people upstairs, then ignored them completely, and kept clearing the zombies in the remaining cars. The 3 people upstairs saw me glance at them, then act like I didn't see them, and got mad immediately. Stupid bitch. The middle-aged man with the flashlight was furious, showing his yellow, rotten teeth. She definitely saw us just now, right? But she pretended she didn't. She obviously doesn't want to save us. The woman holding the whiteboard, who looked totally exhausted, put the whiteboard down and glanced timidly at the middle-aged man. Old Wang, she's not saving us. What do we do now? The middle-aged man was even angrier now. He raised his hand and slapped her hard across the face. What can we do? If she won't save us, then she's not leaving either. The third person was also a woman, but she was obviously way younger than the exhausted one. She looked like she was barely in her 20s. Bro, are you thinking of hearing that soft, sweet voice calling him bro? The middle-aged man was in a much better mood. He pulled the young woman into his arms. Get me the phone. That stupid bitch cleared the zombies all the way down the main road. And thinks she's so tough. I'll show her what a real beatdown feels like. The young woman gave the man a flirty look, then went inside to get the phone. After the apocalypse started, these electronic gadgets are basically useless now. They only work for killing time anyway. Even fully charged electronics die after 3 months. But hey, it's the apocalypse, what can you do? If your own device runs out of power, you can always use someone else's, right? The young woman fetched the phone and turned it on as she walked back. Bro, this phone still has around 10% battery. That should be enough for us. And it won't go to waste either. Aren't you such a smart cookie? The middle-aged man glanced at the woman, with a creepy smirk on his face. You can charge me up later, babe. Then we'll clear 1 more floor down. The young woman smiled coyly and handed the phone to the middle-aged man. The man took it and opened the music app. After cranking the volume all the way up, he played an extremely hyped-up song and threw it right at me, who was clearing zombies below. The phone's volume was maxed out. In this open area where only faint rain and zombie growls could be heard, it sounded extremely jarring. Level 1 zombies are very sensitive to sound. Some zombies that were a bit further away from me and hadn't detected my presence yet heard the noise and started sprinting madly in my direction. All these zombies are now rushing straight at me after hearing the sound. Thud, the phone landed right next to me. When I saw what just happened, I finished off the last zombie in the car with 1 swift slash, then lifted my head and looked toward the building opposite. That man seemed to be waiting for my reaction on purpose. When he saw me looking over, he wore a provocative smirk on his face, as if he was afraid I couldn't see clearly. He even kindly flipped me off. I smiled faintly when I saw that. It's really been so long since I last met a dumbass who dares to mess with me. The reason the middle-aged man provoked me like this wasn't just because I refused to save them, but also because he awakened a strength-type superpower. Of course, the more important reason is that under their building, there is a level 2 zombie hiding there. The man doesn't know its exact location, though.